Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh, Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule and teach well. Peace and safety and much blessings to the Yakim that's pushing this truth out the four corners of the earth in all truth and sincerity and diligence. Shalom. And, I just want to get into this topic on how, we're worshiping like a king. Right, we're worshiping the King. We're worshiping Yahweh through His Son Yahweh Shai. Okay, and when Yahweh Shai return, everybody is going to be in subjection to Yahweh Shai. Everybody's going to be in subjection to Yahweh. Okay, because nobody's going to be worshiping no other gods. Everybody going to have to worship Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua. We're going to have to teach the other nations, how to worship our power, man. Okay. Because everybody's going to be in subjection. And I'll start with Romans 11 or 14. This is Romans 14 and 11. It says, "For it is written, as I live, said the Lord, every knee shall bow to me, and every tongue shall confess to the Most High." All right? Every knee shall bow, and every tongue shall confess. All right, beginning with you Israelites, man. All right, you Israelites that's hard-headed, that want to choose your own way, want to be off up in being a Muslim, serving Allah, or being black consciousness, or being in that Kemet or Egyptologist type deal. You're gonna have to. Especially in the kingdom, you're gonna all be righteous, right? The whole nation of Israel is gonna be righteous. So, that's going to be a beautiful thing because, there'll be no sin in the world, man, amongst the Israelite community, amongst the, nation of Israel, okay? But the other nations are still going to go off. That's how we're going to judge matters. But they still going to serve our power. They're going to have to keep the, high holy days. They're going to have to keep the Shabbat, all right? And this is coming in the near future. All right, we're prophesying about, the coming world, right? Where there's going to be a kingdom of righteousness. You're going to have to keep the high holy days like it speaks about in the book of Zechariah. This is Zechariah 14. This is Zechariah 14 and Zechariah 14 and 16, it says, "It shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which come against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, Yahweh, Yahweh of hosts, even upon them there shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up, and come not and if the family of Egypt go not up, and come not, that have no rain, there shall be a plague wherein Yahweh will smite the heathen that come not up to the Feast of Tabernacle. This is the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come out up to keep the feast." So you're going to have to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. You're going to have to worship our power. You're going to be in subjection because every knee shall bow. Every knee shall bow. All right? Because the knowledge of the Lord, the knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, His name is going to be refreshed in the earth. Right? His name is going to be refreshed. All right? Check this out. This is Psalm 72 and 5 in the NLT. It says, "May they fear you as long as the sun shines, as long as the moon." Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I got it. Give me a second. This is Psalms 72 and 5. Right, yeah. In the NLT, it says, "May they fear you as long as the sun shines, as long as the moon remains in the sky. Yes, forever." So the fear of the Lord is going to be upon everybody, right? forever. You see? It says, may the king's rule be refreshing like the spring rain or freshly cut grass, because, hey, the Lord's name is going to be refreshed in the earth, man. All right? Because that name is going to carry fear upon it, right? Because the way how the Lord is going to do Babylon the Great. You see how the Lord is going to take down, the kings of the earth, man, beginning with Babylon the Great, man. Well, Babylon the Great is going to get the worst of the Lord's anger. I'm going to say that, So it says, may the king's rule be freshing like spring rain on freshly cut grass, like the shout, Salakia. May the king's rule be refreshing like spring rain on freshly cut grass, like the showers that water the earth. It's going to be refreshing to have, the earth back at its full capacity to yield its fruit like it normally would, man. Okay, it's going to be refreshing to be able to enjoy our families. It's going to be refreshing to be in the righteous rulership. It's going to be refreshing, right, to have a healthy fear of the Lord, man, like a total, just to know that, hey, we're not going to ever go off again, man. It's going to be refreshing to see the heathens in subjection with their healthy fear of the Lord, man, to fear our power, right? It's going to be refreshing not to, go to work, man, to see our, to eat real food, refreshing. Verse 7, may all the godly flourish during his reign. May there be abundant prosperity until the moon is no more. So we know that the ordinance of the moon is to never to not give its light. So the moon is going to always give its light. It was made, the Lord gave the moon a decree, and it says in the scriptures, Jeremiah 31 and Hebrews 8, it says, if the moon shall not give its light, just roughly paraphrasing the scripture, then Israel shall cease from being a nation. But hey, the Lord said, hey, we're going to remain, right, as a nation before him, man. Okay? It's basically said in that scripture that we're going to remain to be in the nation before him. All right, because the moon shall not give, the moon shall always give its light. The sun shall always give its light. Okay, it says, verse 8, he may reign from sea to sea. May he reign from sea to sea, and from the Euphrates River to the ends of the earth. Okay, the desert nomads will bow before him. Okay, see, his enemies will fall before him in the dust. The western kings of Tarshish, the western kings of Tarshish, and that represents all the kings of the earth now today, man. All right, and other distant lands will bring him tribute. The eastern king of Sheba and Sheba will bring him gifts. All kings will bow before him, and all nations will serve him. Who is that talking about, man? Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah. So every knee shall bow and all tongues shall confess. It's a beautiful thing, man. For everything to be in this natural course and not out of order. To see the so-called, to see the Israelite woman, I'm gonna say that, to see the Israelite woman in her femininity. Right, to see the Israelite man in masculinity, right, to be sovereign, right, serving Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, giving glory and honor and praises to our great King, right, Yahweh Shah, and our Father Yahweh, man. We look forward to that, right? This is Isaiah 11 and 9. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh as the waters cover the sea. So the whole earth is going to be full of the knowledge of the Lord, man. And when I say full of the knowledge, right, the Israelites is going to be dwelling with, wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom, because the law, statutes, and commandments are going to be written in our inward parts so we never go off. But with the other nations are going to understand that, hey, this is forever. You know, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, is in rulership, which is a kingdom forever. So to have consciousness of Yahweh, to have to know how to that you have to be in subjection to him. It ain't gonna be no other powers being, you know, put over Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man. All right, like I said, the other nations are still gonna go off, but you know they're gonna be dealt with, man. Right? They're gonna be. That's why the scripture says they're gonna be ruled by a rod of iron. You know, so every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. You know, it ain't gonna be no I got a choice. It ain't gonna be like how the Constitution is. Freedom of religion. You know, freedom of speech. You say certain things in the kingdom, you're gonna get dealt with. Ain't gonna be no protesting Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. It ain't gonna be no protesting the Lord, protesting his decrees, protesting the laws. Hey, we're not comfortable. You know, we should be able to do whatever we want to do every day of the week. All right, put them to death. All right, get them out of here. You know, that's a kingdom of righteousness. So everybody's gonna fall in subjection, and it goes to show you when you read the book of Revelations. Right? Go to Revelations. This is the book of Revelations. Get that in there. This is Revelations. Where is that? Give me a second. I think it's Revelations 2. Revelations 2, and this is Revelations 2 and 26. And he that overcome and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken into shivers, even as I received of my Father. Right? So he that overcometh and keepeth my works to the end. So you nations are gonna be ruled over by a rod of iron. All right, we're going to, you know, love to be in subjection. Are you gonna also? You still gonna have some rebellious heathens, right? And that's why they're gonna be dealt with. They're gonna be dealt with, right? But chiefly, they're going to be in subjection. You're gonna have to pay tribute. You know, you're gonna have to, you know, come with your whatever you got. You know, whatever it is, the first of your, you know, your crops, man. Okay, you're gonna have to come with the finest of whatever it is that you got and pay tribute, because you're gonna be in subjection, and you're gonna honor and obey Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right, or you're gonna get dealt with by the rod of iron. All right, that's what, that's what's professed, that he shall bind up the kings, right, and put them in chains and fetters. Watch this. This is Psalms 149 and 6. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen. So vengeance is coming to the heathen. Right? Vengeance is going to be brought upon the heathen, and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and with their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, praise ye Yahweh. Okay. So, you know, you're gonna be in subjection, and you're gonna have. Hey, listen, you're gonna, just like how they got this movie. I was talking about, I think this was the movie Roots. It was it beat his name out of him. It was Kunta Kinte. It wanted to be Toby, right? Beat his ass real bad, man. But that's part of the curses, you know. That was the curse, you know, that we had to take upon for disobedience of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. But the Lord's anger, well, you know, it was not to be forever for us. It was just for a very long time, you know, to fulfill prophecy. And now we at the end of, you know, this badass dream. You know, we're at the end of this badass dream, and you know, now those same curses are gonna fall upon, you know, you heathens, right? Isn't that, you know, Deuteronomy 30? Is that Deuteronomy 30 and 6? No, it's not. Is it 7? It says Deuteronomy 30 and 7. It says, "And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and upon them that hate thee, which persecuted thee." So all these curses are gonna fall upon you heathens, man. You know, your women gonna look at you like you ain't nothing. You know, your children are gonna be rebellious unto you. You know, it's gonna. Hey, when this go down, and it be a shift of powers in the earth, man. Like, it's gonna be crazy, man. That's the only thing I can say, man, because I can't even imagine. When I say I can't imagine, just to be sitting in sovereignty. You know, I can picture it, you know, but the feeling of it, to just, you know, to know that, hey, man, we are on top and this is forever. You know, to praise Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, right? With no fear upon us, right? Let's see what it said in Ezekiel. I want to say Ezekiel, as Ezekiel the 36th chapter, maybe. Is Ezekiel 36? All right. Salaki. Well, I'm gonna just read this, you know, because this is good. All right, this is Ezekiel 36 and 32. Well, all right, this is Ezekiel 36 and 36. It says, "Then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, Yahweh, built the ruined places and planted that was desolate. I, Yahweh, have spoken and will do it." And that's when, you know, everybody shall bow, right? And tongues shall confess, okay? Thus said Yahweh power, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, "I will yet for this be inquired of those by the house of Israel to do it for them. I will increase them with men like a flock, as the holy flock, as the flock of Jerusalem in her solemn feast. So shall the waste city be filled with flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahweh," because we're going to be restored. All right, we're going to be restored in the kingdom, man. Okay? But that's not what I wanted, but that was still good. Okay? Let's see. I thought it was in... Watch this. After, you know, this never mind. I can do this. Let's see. This is Jeremiah. It's 30 and 10. Oh no, 34. It was 34. 34. Ezekiel 34 and 28. It says, "And they shall know." Okay. This is. I'm gonna start at 26. "And I will make them I will make them in the places round about my hill a blessing, and I will cause the shower to come down in his season. There shall be showers of blessing." And that's what we're going to inherit and receive. "And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land." Right? We're going to be safe in our land, man. All right? "And shall know that I am Yahweh when I have broken the bands of their yoke and delivered them out of the hands of those that serve themselves of them." Okay? The kings of the earth that wax rich off of us, man. Right? Chiefly you Edomites, man. All right? And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beasts of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid. Okay? None shall make them afraid. Why? Because we're going to be sovereign under Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? You're going to have, like, you're not going to, like, it's the a feeling of absolutely no worry. You know, we're not going to have to worry if we ever pissing the Lord off. Now, that is true salvation, right? That we're not just to know that we always going to be good with the Lord. Always. Okay? And you heathens are going to confess. You know? 2/3 are going to be in their right mind. You know? Praising the Lord, loving the Lord, man. Okay? Confessing the name, believing the name. It's going to be written in their inward parts. That is the true new covenant, right? For the law, statutes, and commandments to be written in our inward parts, to well, a man shouldn't have to teach his brother no more, right? Because we got the promise of the new covenant. We got the down payment of the new covenant, which is the blood of Yahweh Shai, okay? But we're not actually in the new covenant, you know? So, pursuing back to the topic of the lesson, you know that every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. You know, like it says in Isaiah, the 2nd chapter. This is Isaiah 2 and 2. It says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established on the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it." So those mountains and hills represent you know, governments, all right? So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you know, shall be exalted, you know, the ways of righteousness shall be exalted above, you know, all, you know, governments, you know. So it ain't gonna be nothing that's gonna trump, you know, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And all nations shall flow to it. It says, "And many people shall go and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the Most High, to the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." Right? "And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks, and the nation shall not lift up swords against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." Right? "O house of Jacob, come ye, let us walk in the light of the Lord." Come, let us walk in the light of the Lord, man. All right? And that's exactly what's going to happen. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess, man. These heathens are going to be in subjection, man. Right? They're going to be in there, you know, in total subjection. Okay? Hold on. Give me a second. All right, this is Tobit 13 and 11. "Many nations shall come from far to the name of Yahweh with gifts in their hands, even gifts to the King of heaven. All generations shall praise thee with great joy." All generations, man. Everybody's going to be in subjection to the Lord. All right, this is what we're reading about the future. All right, this is the future. This is what's coming. This is what Yahweh Shai is coming to do, to set up righteousness on the planet Earth. Okay? Let's see. Give me a second. All right, this is, here it is. Yeah, okay. Oh, no, that's not it. Well, that was the same thing. That was the same thing. So yeah, man, that's the point. You know, that's the point that's been made. That, you know, every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. You know, definitely you heathens. You know, because Israel is going to be righteous. Israel shall be all righteous. You know, that's just the Lord. You know, his the whole goal is to dwell amongst his nation, man. You know, and for us to have that love, you know, back for the Lord as a whole, right? because the Lord considers us as his, his wife, man. Where the elect is his wife, the nation of Israel as his firstborn son. Okay, so that's what we looking forward to. That's what we fighting towards, for a kingdom of righteousness, and to be, dwelling with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua in righteousness. Okay, confessing and honoring the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. So, Lord willing, you are edified. Shalom.